One thing that is absolutely certain, and that's been missing for years, is a reliable, young, quality centre forward at Manchester United. And I think signing Højlund has given us that. And I really like what I'm seeing from him now, but I would like to talk about maybe what we're going to see from him in the future and perhaps why I'm impressed with what I am seeing from him right now. I think it's important to look at why this player is working for us, but also whether or not that could be something that we can see from him going long term. I think after the Galatasaray brace that he scored, and you can argue that he put the ball in the back of the net 3 times, I think Højlund is really starting to turn heads. I think he's a player that can provide for United in the long run. And I think despite the fact that when we signed him, people are going, well, he's only scored 9 goals. You might have overpaid there with 70 odd million for him. Valid statements. I think when we look back on his Manchester United career, I think we'll say 70 million was money well spent. Let's look at the 5 things that we've learned in this short time of Rasmus Hojlund at Manchester United. Number 1, he has been refreshing. I think what's so refreshing about Højlund stepping into this side is that he's a different option. He's very different to Anthony Martial. He's certainly very different to what you get out of Marcus Rashford when he plays as a 9. And he's brought just this air of the way he dribbles. There's a confidence about him, but it's not cocky or arrogant. It's kind of like a bit of an internal self-belief that he's got, which is there's a nice quality about it. When you see him dribble, it's not necessarily like Marcus's direct or Garnacho's direct, pacey like dribbling. He's got this almost Sancho-esque sort of in between the lines dribble on him. It's weird for someone in his frame. Obviously, we've seen how strong he is. He's not afraid to pull out some skills. And I think he just seems hungry. He's active. He's prepared to press, which I think we knew about him coming into the team, but like seeing it is nice. And I think, a combination of him and Amrabat and, maybe a couple of others are going to lift this side a little bit as they start to play more and more games. And his best performance has undoubtedly been in the Champions League so far, where he obviously scored against Bayern Munich. He scored 2 against Galatasaray. Like I said, put the ball in the back of the net 3 times, but maybe don't worry about that. And he's showing a real array of tools that United can rely on with him. The headed goal from Marcus's cross, sensational. Bursting away from defenders, showing his pace, showing his dribbling ability, showing strikers instinct. There's so many things that we're seeing from him on top of the defensive play, the link play and everything. Like, he's showing hunger in big, huge games. He isn't hiding. That's going to start clicking over to the Premier League very, very soon for him. I just think it's a case of like just keep throwing him in and you're going to start to get returns from that very, very quickly. Number 2, he is a United striker. And it's not often that we've said that in recent years when you're looking at him. Anthony Martial, flat as to deceive, constantly injured, and just can't be relied upon. You see Cristiano Ronaldo, we knew we were getting an older Ronaldo when he came back. There was still a level of excitement there because he was a guy still capable, and he did show he was still capable of some stuff. The goals that he scored were perfectly legitimate goals, but you had to sort of accommodate him in the team, and people needed to do a little bit of running for him. Realistically, the one striker that he reminds me of is Cavani, and Cavani didn't fully work at United, and I think he's seen his arse with having the number 7 taken off him after such a good start, and then it was like he didn't really want to be here after that. And it's a shame because Cavani became a very quick cult hero at the club because of the way he acted and the way he carried himself, and then he actually performed on the pitch. And if you look a little bit about the style of play that you get out of Rasmus Hojlund, there's a lot of Cavani in him, and hopefully Højlund can reach that sort of hero status that Cavani reached in such a short time. He leads the line with pressing, positioning, and even the finishing as well. But the finishing hasn't quite been reflected in the numbers yet. But I am very confident that the numbers start to come. All right, let's get to the point. Big thanks to Surfshark for sponsoring this video. What's Surfshark? It's one of them VPN things. What's a VPN thing? Well, basically, it scrambles up all your online stuff so no nosy parkers can have a gander what you're up to. So whether you're sat in a cafe nicking a Wi-Fi or if you're just at home browsing, Surfshark has got your back. Plus, fancy trick, it can make it look like you're browsing from somewhere else, which is really handy if you're trying to get a sneak peek at the Premier League while you're on some random holiday on some random island, probably in the Mediterranean, right? A few more things. It blocks ads. It doesn't spy insight on what you're up to, and one account can go across all your gadgets. Give it a whirl, and if you use the code Howson, they're going to chuck in 3 months extra for free. And if you're not feeling it, they've got a 30-day money-back guarantee. Sorted. Number 3, and this is partially why, he needs more service. It's unfortunate that we've not seen more Rasmus Hojlund goals, because those, just literally a goal here or there, would have changed some of the results from negative to positive in the last few weeks, and we've needed that, really. And he's been unlucky not to convert some of the chances that he's had, but you also can't expect a forward to score every single chance that he gets. When you look at what he should have perhaps scored, he's had 8 shots so far in the Premier League, and he's only got an XG of 0.8. Which means he's looking at like a 10% chance for every single one of the shots he's taken after 4 league game involvements. It's not a lot in real. There are forwards in the Premier League that are taking 8 shots per game. They're also taking 8 shots per game and coming away with something like, an XG of, from 8 shots, you're probably looking at least 2 goals, I would think, or at least 2 XG. But he's taking such low quality shots because he's not getting a service in high quality areas that, you give him an half-decent chance, somewhere at a 0.25 or a 0.3 XG, and you're going to see him bury it. And I think by the end of the season, he will have outstripped his XG, and probably by a few goals, I would expect. Number 4, the sky is the absolute limit. He's young, and at 20 years of age, he already looks like the real deal. He looks physically mature. He looks tactically mature. He's just doing his stuff, and it looks like the price tag hasn't really affected him. He's just sort of slowly got himself into the team and just really kicked off with what we thought he might be. Hopefully we get him scoring soon more, and I think as he starts racking up appearances in the Prem, in the Carabao Cup, in the FA Cup, in the Champions League, the goals are going to start to come. I think he's more than capable of getting 20 goals across the board this season. I think he's definitely going to be in the mix for that if he plays the games. As he starts to get a bit of familiarity about the club and about his situation and this, that and the other, I think more's going to come from him. And in fact, that's my 0.5, actually, more to come. The main thing with the new striker is that it's not about the short-term output. And I like the short-term output and I like the short-term performance. In fact, from Manchester United fans coming away from the ground every week, you're looking at like Højlund has been a bit of a bright spark, certainly from Tuesday. You're like, do you know what? Yeah, that was shit, but I'll tell you what, Højlund did the job. And as I said earlier, he's had a sensational showing so far in the Champions League and hasn't won a game yet. I think the team around him has really not helped. We haven't really dominated the ball in a way that I expect us to. We haven't really defended in a way that I would expect us to. And we haven't really created in a way that I would expect us to. Once those three things start to happen, and they will, I do believe you'll not only see Manchester United go on a run, I think you'll see Rasmus Hojlund really start to rack up the goals. And overall, I'm very happy, and I hope everybody else is happy with the impact and the effect that Højlund is having on the team. And I think I would expect the goals to start flowing very, very quickly. He's only going to be, a striker can only be as good as the players around him allow him to be, in terms of can they get the ball to him in good areas to allow him to shoot. And if we aren't seeing him get the service that he needs and deserves, you're not going to see him reach that level. But potentially, he can do it for Manchester United. And I know there's a lot of expectation and there's a lot of pressure on him, but I think he's handled it quite well so far, and I think he's going to continue to impress. But in terms of like, how do we think he's getting on? Very impressed so far. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.